In a time now lost to history, the world was ruled by the forces of darkness and chaos. Then the god Dayran, along with his younger siblings, created light. They rose up and ousted the old gods, bringing new life to the world. Despite the new gods' victory, some of the forces of evil managed to escape banishment and continued to plague mankind. Then, 500 years ago, the great warrior king Agon battled the final and strongest demon lord, and from his victory, the glorious kingdom that bears his name Agonia sprung forth. Peace flourished as the kingdom became a center of culture, magic, religion, and military might. To guard against the demons and monstrosities that might lurk in the dark shadows and far corners of the world, the Adventurers Guild stands ready. With sword and spell in hand, these brave souls keep the bright light of Dayran and the courage of Agon alive. These are their songs. These are the Strophes of Agonia.
As we took our break, the party had decided to take the adventure, the request by a druidic order of the Great Forest, to the northwest of Greenhaven and help them on something of an issue they were having. These type of adventures aren't always clear. And they aren't always entirely detailed as to what to expect. So this is something the adventurers have grown accustomed to. The party heads out of Greenhaven on heading up towards the Great Forest, and that takes you the better part of the rest of the morning and the early afternoon to reach the edge of the Great Forest. As you come to it, it's pretty clear as to why it is referred as such. The plainlands, as you make your way, are fairly open, and you're able to see settlers who have created kind of small villages. You see a couple of little shires of halflings, and they come out and wave as the adventurers make their way down the road. But as you come to the Great Forest, that greenery kind of stops along a hard line. And at the edge of that line is a massive wall of forest. Starting almost immediately are trees that are anywhere from, 50 all the way up to 100 feet tall and thick and round, and even Goro seems somewhat small against these massive edifice of tree. And there is only kind of the one road leading into the forest.
Man, what a bunch of trees. This is enormous.
Your powers of observation are very astute.
I have been told that. Well, I guess what are we waiting for? Might as well just keep going.
Guildmaster, apologies. How long did it take us to get here?
I would say that if you guys left around 9 in the morning, we're looking at probably to be at the edge of the forest, probably about 3 o'clock in the afternoon or so.
So would that be enough for a short rest, or was that too active of a journey?
No, I would say if you guys wanted to take a short rest, there was nothing there. Nothing would have stopped you from taking it while you were still in town as well. So we'll say that you got a short rest and recouped yourselves a little bit before taking to the road.
So, shall I lead the way?
I will say I'm pretty handy in these woods here. You could say it's one of my favorite terrains, if you would. So I'd be happy to, as long as you can give some guidance on who we're trying to get. Where is this elder?
Let us see what awaits us then.
So, the camera in an instance like this would track behind the four of you as you leave the greenery of the plainslands behind you and head down the dirt road into the forest. As you enter the forest, it's easy to tell that this forest is rich and abundant with life. The happy chirps of birds, the rustling of deer. It sounds as if there is a perpetually flowing river all around you. The forest crackles and bristles with life. Ryu, it's the kind of environment that rangers would get giddy in. It's like Christmas Day for rangers in here, as there are grassy knolls and breaks in the canopy, letting beautiful rays of light kind of crash like waterfalls onto the forest floor as you make your way through the forest and what serves as something of a road.
I'm just basically jumping around with Koji, just like, look at that! Wow! Just like seeing all these things, holding Koji up to like a bug on a tree. Sometimes he'll go and bite it and all that, but I am ecstatic.
Why don't you go ahead and give me a survival check? And yeah, go ahead and give me a survival check.
That's a 5.
Okay.
Oh wait,
So-
I get advantage because it's my favorite terrain.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Apologies. So that is an 18.
Very good.
An 18. Okay.
Yes.
So you're kind of flitting around with Koji, and as the three, Mora, Aya, and Goro, you're walking down this path, and Ryu's over here, Ryu's over there, Ryu's under here, Ryu's on top of that. And you're trying to make your way as quickly as you can, but this ranger is kind of prancing from tree to tree, from bush to bush, from flower to flower. At one point you come around a bend in the road, and Ryu is flat on his belly with kind of his hand in his palms, just kind of kicking his feet back and forth as a little butterfly has kind of landed on a flower, and he's just taking it in. Wow. And so eventually, though, he comes back to his senses, and you have a pretty good idea of the direction that you need to head. As you make your way, you kind of come to a clearing. Let me get a perception check from Ryu and, let's say, Goro.
"22.
22, okay.
I get
Ooh.
a 16.
A 16, okay. Let me just roll a couple of dice here myself.
These trees have eyes and ears."
Okay. So you come out into a clearing. And as you do, let me adjust a couple of things here real quick. You are able to notice, staring at the party, are a pair of very large bear-like creatures. Let me do a little adjusting here. Get this map a bit more on the screen.
Getting maps.
So bear with me, as I'm still a little bit new to the whole, you know.
Bear with you.
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
You know I had to. Come on.
Did you? Let me move these guys. That'll just make life a little bit easier for me. We're going to say they start about there. How about that? And as you kind of come into the clearing, you notice that there are these temple-like ruins. It doesn't naturally strike you as druidic ruins or anything like this. And you know that there were plenty of different groups that have tried to set up in the forest. So you're not too surprised to come across ruins. But moving through the ruins are these muscular bear-like creatures. And they're stalking and they're looking at you. And they're not doing much to hide their presence.
I am gonna cast Speak with Animals.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah. And as I do that, I'm gonna call out and say, "Hello there. We do not mean you any harm. I know that we're in your space and all that. We're here to check some stuff out. How are you guys doing?" Eh?
You hear you hear in your mind, and it occurs to you as you hear this noise that they aren't necessarily beasts and creatures of the forest, but in their own right monstrosities. They have the bodies of bears, but these owl-like faces with scowling brows and eyes. The thing that you give me a quick perception check, Ryu.
Gladly. That is an 11. Although, I have a question.
Okay.
So, my favored enemy
Mm-hmm.
are monstrosities.
Yes.
So, I have advantage on survival checks as well as intelligence checks to recall info about them.
Okay.
Is that
Go ahead and give me an intelligence check then.
all right? Oh, I have advantage. So that is a 12.
A 12. Okay. You're listening to them speak and you're watching the one in the back move, and you notice that it has a slight oddness to its back step, and there seems to be hesitation, fear, anger, rage in its voice. And we will go ahead and roll for initiative as they charge at the party.
Oh God!
Oh gosh. Okay. Okay. Some initiative.
That is a 6.
I have an 18.
9. And I ready my shield and spear.
Okay. Keep those numbers in mind.
Hmm?
Rio, what'd you get again?
I got a 6.
A 6. Goro?
A 9.
A 9. Aya?
I got an 18.
An 18.
Mm-hmm.
Okie doke. And let me auto roll for initiative on them. Okay. So Aya, you are going to start us off here.
Oh, okay.
You are watching Ryu as he's speaking. All of a sudden, Ryu, you see kind of magic come out of his mouth. You see these small little specks of arcane magic kind of flicker out of his mouth and wind their way over to the owl bear. And then Ryu's just kind of standing there going, and this seems to incite quite a bit of growling and anger, as if there's been a miscommunication or a mistranslation in his owl or bear dialects. And it is clear that these owl bear are ready to charge at the party. What would you like to do?
She goes like, all right, clearly words aren't working. Let's try something else. And she moves a little bit so she can get a clear line of sight on both of those owl bears. So maybe to the other side of Ryu so she can see both of them at the same time.
Okay, give that to me one more time. Where is Aya going?
I would like Aya to stand on the other side of Ryu.
Okay.
Of where she is. So she can see both owl bears at the same time.
Got it. How's somewhere like that?
Yeah. And I will cast Fairy Fire.
Ah, okay.
At first level on the bears. I think it's 20-foot cube. Could get both of them?
Yep,
Yes? Okay. Perfect. Yeah, so she's going to I'm going to cast Fairy Fire. And it'll be a pale bluish color. Let me get that. And each of the bears need to try to make a dexterity saving throw of 13 to avoid it.
Okay, the first one fails.
Mm-hmm.
But the second succeeds. So the one that is just on the edge was just far enough out of the effect that it was kind of able to avoid the fairy fire, but this one in the lower corner has been affected by fairy fire.
Wonderful. Okay, so for the rest of the party, that means any attack roll against that one bear that's closest to us will get advantage if you can see the bear. And the owl bear cannot benefit from being invisible. So even if the bear is invisible, you can still see the outline of the bear glowing in blue. It's basically like amplifying it as a target.
Invisible owl bears. I don't think we're there yet. But...
Invisible owl bears. The world is a strange place. You never know what's going to happen. But yeah, that's her. That's what she's going to do for that.
Okay. Mora, I know you ducked out for a moment, so I put you into the initiative. You're going to come at the end of the order.
Sounds good, thank you.
Sure thing. Okay, so the owl bear up front. Ryu, this is the one that you think was just reacted to you, not the one that was sounding hurt. You get the feeling that the one that was sounding angry and threatened is this one kind of towards the back, the one that avoided the fairy fire. The first owl bear charges forward.
I would like to use my bonus action.
Ah, sorry, I skipped by you there. Sure, go
That's
for
okay.
it.
That's all right. That's why I bring it up. I would like to cast a spiritual weapon. It's my bonus action.
Okay. Unfortunately, you can't on this turn.
Oh, okay, my bad.
You're fine.
Alrighty,
It's just that you already cast a spiritual weapon. Is that a cantrip? No, it should be.
No, it's a second level spell.
Yeah.
My bad.
So you're just gonna have to hold off on that one until your next turn.
Right. That's all right. For now, I'll just hold concentration on keeping fairy fire up.
Got it. Okay, so the first bear comes charging forward and is going to just kind of attack the first thing it sees. And in this case, that's going to be Goro.
Ooh.
And
I have an opportunity attack as it enters my space since I'm a polar master.
Yes, you do.
Here we go.
Woo!
Can I take it now?
You bet.
And you get advantage.
Ah, perfect.
You get
First roll,
advantage because
then.
my spells. Woohoo!
Natural 20 on my
Oh!
first roll. I'll take
That's
it.
our second one. Holy cow. Okay.
Hey.
I love it.
And we're doubling on crits.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, let me roll. Hold on. I keep rolling the wrong bonus attack on my
Right.
D&D Beyond. Can we keep that? Can we keep that crit?
Yeah.
All right.
For
8. Total of 8 for 16 points of damage.
Ooh.
As I
Okay.
slide my boar spear forward.
It lets out a caw as it comes in for its own attacks. Let me just double check something real quick. Goro, are you speaking right now?
No,
Okay.
I am now.
Okay, good. Sorry, we're just still going with the technical side of things. Sometimes those mouths move on their own, and I was like, "Oh, Goro's saying something." Okay, so it lets out it's these creatures shout out, but it's a strange sound. It is as if an owl was making a bear-like roar. So it's high-pitched and piercing as it takes that spear into its kind of shoulder muscle. As it does, it's going to come and attack you with its claws and its biting beak, Goro. Oops, I rolled the wrong dice myself. So the first is a 13 to hit with its claw attack.
It does not hit against my plate armor.
Okay, and it's going to go for another swipe with its beak as it kind of comes lunging down on top of you. Ooh, that one's going to be a 23 to hit.
Yes.
As a reaction, I would like to cast Silvery Barbs on it.
Okay. What did we get with silvery barbs?
So as a reaction, I can distract the triggering creature when I see one succeed on an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw.
Okay.
Essentially, it's instantaneous disadvantage on the roll. So
Got
you
it.
must roll again.
Roll again.
As it hears a strange melody as I gesture towards it.
And that is going to be a 12. So its beak opens, ready to take a bite, and just as it's about to clamp down, Goro, you're even momentarily wincing, knowing what's coming, and suddenly magic is kind of in the eyes of this owl bear, and it stops and it's shaking its head and looking around, trying to figure out what just kind of erupted in its field of vision. And that's
I will swing the energy of the magic then as the second half of the spell into Goro. And Goro, you just see this set of sparks and you hear a strange noise and you feel even more invigorated and you have advantage on your next attack.
Oh.
I'm ready.
Woo! Okay. I think we're going to have to start level upping these monsters here. You guys are going to have like CR 50 monsters by the end. Holy cow. Okay.
We're working as a team. Like we're
yeah.
we're jiving, guys.
Woo.
Woo.
Our second owl bear, the one that is not fairy fired or advantaged, comes charging down. Let me just check one thing real here. 40 feet. Okay. Comes charging down, having seen the other of its companions. Yeah, and it's just able to reach Aya. And so, Aya, you turn your attention, you see this owlbear lumbering, charging, charging towards you. And you're able to notice it has kind of a strange gait to its back leg as it's charging, but it's still able to make its way to you and come in for a series of attacks.
Okay. I would like to use, when it comes in to attack me, my reaction to use Warding Flare.
Okay, go ahead and walk us through Warding Flare.
When I am attacked by a creature that can be blinded within 30 feet that I can see, I can use my reaction to impose disadvantage on its attack roll. I can use it 3 times per long rest.
Got it. So The rest of the party sees this owlbear charging at Aya, and just as it's coming into her range, leaping into the air for attack, Aya reaches up her hand, and a spectacular blast of divine light breaks through the air. For a moment, any shadow hiding cast by these trees is illuminated in light. It's as if the entire underbelly of the forest is lit up in radiant energy, so much that each of you kind of has to shield your vision for just a moment. And the owlbear tries to continue its attack, but you can see it's almost blinded as it's charging at Aya. Let's see if it hits with its claws.
So it has disadvantage.
Okay, so just so we're specific, does it have disadvantage on all of its attacks this turn, or does it have disadvantage on its first attack?
It just says you can imposes disadvantage on the attack roll. So I'm assuming it's just this one.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's this first one. So he comes down and is, again, we have two owlbears kind of growling and trying to shake out of their eyes either wizarding magic or divine magic. One's been nearly blinded. The other one has like magic embers in their eyes. And the one that is on top of Aya, just more enraged than anything else, lashes out with its beak to try to get a bite of the cleric. And that is a natural 20.
Oh!
Coming on for my own turn. Here we go.
Ouch.
Yikes.
Yikes.
Okay.
Yikes.
But it kind of rears up with its head, and as it does, that sharp beak kind of slashes across your front eye for 8 points of piercing damage.
Ouch. Okay, 8 points. Already? Ow.
And that makes it Goro's turn.
Feeling the new surge of invigoration from Mora's spell, I let out just a growl as I ready my boar spear attack. With advantage is a natural 20. I don't think I want to even re-roll that.
These dice have been hot today. Holy hell. Okay.
Rolling great. Awesome.
For a total of... Hold on. 8 damage. Hold on, I'm looking at what they've done here. So it looks like I'm looking at D&D Beyond. It looks like it was 8 damage, so 16, I think, for...
D&D Beyond doubles the damage immediately when you have a nat 20.
Let me look at this real quick. How did they do this? Spear damage 4, 8. So they gave it 12 damage.
12 damage, okay.
And I won't stop there as I whip around and use the bludgeoning end of my spear. Ha ha! 21
That'll hit.
Yeah.
for 7 points of damage.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And then I grip my spear. The world vibrates. Action surge for another attack with my boar spear.
Yes.
For 17 to hit.
17 hits.
For a total of 6 damage. No,
Nice.
sorry, 8 damage. 8 two-handed damage. 8 damage.
Okay. As Goro tears into this owlbear, lion versus bear-like creature, the two are trading blows, and Goro is just slashing this boar spear into the bear, and you see just fillets of cuts being laid upon the owlbear as it is well bloodied. Ooh. Anything else you would like to do on your turn, Goro?
That is it.
Okay. With that, it is Ryu's turn.
All right. Well, after seeing that owlbear run up and hit Aya, snapping 2. I go, hey, you leave Aya alone. Koji, go get him. And so I'm going to start off with using my bonus attack for Koji. So he is going to make 1 attack. That is a 22 to hit.
That'll hit.
That'll hit. All right. And so that's 1d6. That's 8 damage from Koji. Koji is hitting big today.
Yo.
Koji's doing
And
great.
on top of that, so first things first, I'm gonna kind of do like an action leap back like 5 feet as I shoot, kind of as in move 5 feet back just to keep my distance.
Right.
And then jump back, like, take this, and I shoot my bow at him for a 12.
12 does not hit. So
Yeah.
as you're jumping back, you just a little bit on that back foot, and the arrow flies just over the shoulder of the owl bear. This brings us to the bottom of the round, making it Mora's turn.
All right. So I will disengage since I believe I'm right next to it. Yes, looking at it.
Yes, you would be within 5 feet of it. Yep.
Yes, I'm absolutely taking the disengage action. Then I will move myself behind Goro. He seems like an excellent defensive bulwark, and therefore between Ryu and Goro.
Excellent. Anything else you'd like to do? Bonus action or anything?
Yes, but I can't because I cast that spell as my reaction. So.
Right. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, that brings us to the top of the round with Aya. There's the one bloodied owl bear and the one on top of you. Since you took damage last round, will you please go ahead and give me a Constitution saving throw?
Oh boy. Oh, sorry. I accidentally did a check, not a save throw. My bad. Let me reroll that really quick. Sorry. Oh, it would have been the same modifier, but we'll be honest. 12.
Okie doke. So that is a success, and you are able to continue your concentration on Fairy Fire being up. Yep.
Yes. Perfect. Okay. I would like to... Where was the one I was looking at? Since this bear is right on top of me, I would like to cast 2nd level Burning Hands.
Okay, wow.
On this owl bear right here in front of me.
Yes.
The bear needs to make a Dex saving throw, beating a 13 in order to get a less damage.
Yes. It did succeed.
Okay.
He's pretty big and muscular, so he's able to push himself as he sees that you're casting what seems to be a fiery-like spell. But he will stick to damage, so go ahead and roll for that.
Okay. Oops. Sorry, let me get back to my spells. Burning Hands. Oh, that was not a good. It was not a good Burning Hands. I only got 6. 6
okay.
points.
Hey, 6 points.
Which half would be 3. However, I wanted to ask because this is the first time I've had this ability. I do have the lucky. I think it's a feat.
You are lucky.
Lucky. Whenever you make an attack roll or an ability check or a saving throw, I can spend 1 to roll an additional d20. You choose which.
Yeah, in this case,
I
luck wouldn't
don't think that applies.
come into effect, right? It's not for the damage dealt, but yeah.
Ooh, but I can add a channel divinity into the Burning Hands, correct?
You bet you can. Yes, indeed.
Yes, I'd like to channel some divine energy to fuel magical effects.
Okay.
I don't know if that adds any additional damage. So that's the first time I'm using that.
What is your channel divinity as a light cleric? You have the warding flare, right?
Yeah.
Channel Radiance of Dawn. Starting at 2nd level, you can use your channel divinity to harness sunlight, banishing darkness and dealing radiant damage. As an action, you present your holy symbol. So in this case, you can't because you've already used your action, and any magical darkness within 30 feet of you is dispelled. Additionally, each hostile creature within 30 feet of you must make a Constitution saving throw. A creature takes radiant damage equal to 2d10 plus your cleric level on a failed saving throw, and half as much. So as an action, you can use this in place of something like a spell or whatnot.
No, that's all right. I'll save that then for something else. I apologize for the
All good.
for the confusion. So yeah, we'll stick with the original burning hands.
Got it.
That I used.
Okay, so I gave the owlbear damage for that. I think that makes it your turn. So we're gonna swing over to the owlbear that is on top of Goro, and it's gonna make a pair of claw and beak attacks again. It is well bloodied, but there is a bloodlust and a rage and anger in its eyes as it attacks Goro. The first is a 21 to hit.
It hits.
For 11 points of slashing damage, sorry. And then it goes in with its beak to try to gnaw at you with its beak, and that is a 16 to hit.
Does not hit.
Does not hit. Okay, so that's going to make it its turn. And the second one, going to the one with Aya, has just been scorched and blinded, so is equally enraged and continues to attack Aya, despite what Ryu asked it ever so politely not to do.
Why must it do that to me?
So it goes in for its attack, a 16 to hit.
I have a 16 armor class, so it meets it.
Okay. And then the claw attack. Ooh, that's going to be a little bit better for a 22 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
And that's going to be 9 points of slashing damage as it comes down with a bear-like claw on Aya's
9?
shoulder area. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Ay, ay, ay. Oops.
Is her fairy fire still up?
Yeah, go ahead and give me another Constitution saving throw, please.
All right. It's that's a 5.
A 5. No, the fairy fire is not still up.
And I'm looking pretty rough right now.
That makes it Goro's turn.
Planting my feet and gripping deep. Superiority maneuver. Precision strike. As I go in with my boar spear. For 1 plus. Hold on. Let me add my superiority dice to this. For an 11 to hit.
11 does not hit.
And then I will whip around and continue on unfazed with my bludgeoning attack.
Okay.
For an 11 to hit.
Does not hit.
Oh.
Okay.
That is all for me.
Then that makes it Ryu's turn.
All right. So, after my first miss, now this one won't miss. I said leave Aya alone, and I'm going to make an attack with sharpshooter.
Okay.
Ooh.
So that is
-5 to your roll.
-5.
Yep.
But I get to do 10 more damage if I hit.
Right.
Ooh,
So-
nice.
So that's a 4.
Oh no!
To hit. So
Yeah.
moving on, I am going to have Koji is going to bite. Because as we've learned, Koji is the real damage dealer between the two of us. He got a 17 to hit.
Yeah, that'll hit.
Koji is just full of angst and he's ready to rumble today.
Koji, he deals 7 damage. The lowest damage I've rolled for his attack
7
is
damage.
5.
Fired up ever since he played with the kids.
Yeah, he's been fired up.
Well, they're going to be great adventurers, and he's going to be a great Drake
Yeah.
in the future. So he's imbued with the dreams of the future, of future greatness.
So you know, Ryu, you've been firing your shots, and Koji seems like really worked up over Aya being attacked. There seems to be a real territorial, small dog vibe going on here, as he is all about attacking and getting back at these attackers on Aya. That was your turn, and he dealt some good damage. That makes it Mora's turn.
Oh, man.
Right. So Mora's seeing what is happening to Aya, and in that moment, I raise a fist and I yell at it and say, "Show me what you are capable of, beast!" And there is a flash from the ring, and lightning streaks out, arcing up and down across the field. And I will attempt a 2nd level witch bolt at it.
Ooh.
17 to hit.
Oh yeah, that'll hit.
Oh man.
For 8 points of damage. And
Okay.
the arcing lightning is locked between us.
This is the one attacking Goro, correct?
There's one attacking Aya.
Okay. It lets out another ferocious, in-pained scream as the fiery bolt connects the two of you, and it's writhing in pain. That brings us to the top of the round and Aya.
I'm looking kind of rough, but she just kind of like wipes her face a little bit and is like, okay, and goes to cast. Let me bring up my thing.
And you notice that this one on top of you is bloodied as well as you're bringing that
Yeah.
up.
Huh, cool. I'm going to bring out my spiritual weapon since we're right on top of each other here.
Yeah. And you can
So I'm
take a
gonna cast-
regular attack action because spiritual weapon's going to be a bonus action.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I keep thinking it's like the normal action.
You're fine.
Okay. Sweet. Thank you so much for that. I will then do a 2nd level Scorching Ray.
Okay, let me be clear. You can take an attack action with a melee weapon, and then as your
melee
bonus
weapon.
action, use your spiritual weapon.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Then okay, I do have a melee weapon on me. I do have a mace.
Yep.
That's underneath my cloak. So I will take that out and like kind of back swing it into its snout, essentially like a backhanded slap to the
Yeah.
snout with this mace. Like
Yeah.
she kind of reaches under her cloak where you don't expect anything to be there and then just and then hits right across the face. Yeah.
Well, that was what you envisioned was going to happen.
That's what I'm trying.
All of that happens, but as you pull the mace out of your cloak, it like leaps out of your grasp and hand for a moment, just into space as you and the owlbear just kind of freeze frame for a moment. Luckily, you have a leather strap kind of wrapped around the handle. Otherwise, it would have flung out of your hand, and you're able to recompose yourself here. But you can now cast spiritual weapon and get an attack with the spiritual weapon in on this round.
Yes, that's what I'm gonna do. I'll cast my spiritual weapon. Please let this do a little bit better. Spiritual weapon attack, second level. I got a 13 to hit.
That'll hit.
Oh, yes! Okay, awesome. For a total of 9 damage.
In addition to that,
Uh-huh.
as Koji's reaction,
Yep.
he's going to infuse it with fire.
Ooh.
An additional 1d6.
Oh.
We'll add 6 damage. 6 fire damage will be added to that.
So it's 15 total.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that code. Wow.
So
Real
Koji. Koji's the best.
Koji is the best.
Goro and Mora, you are Goro, you're focused on this owlbear on top of you. Mora, you had this fiery flame kind of wrapping around the owlbear on top of Aya. And you watch as what has just been a light show coming from Aya of radiant energy from the warding flare and the burning hands, and now again manifesting itself above her is this swirling rose mace as thorns grow out of the hilt and comes crashing down on top of the owlbear. And just as it hits, you see little Koji kind of fly up over this mace and let out a flume of fire that is channeled through the mace, crushing down on the bear as flames wrap around the rose, and its head just gets crushed over to the side. It flies through the air for a good 5 feet and kind of slides to a stop against the ruins, dead.
I just
Yes.
kind of lays there for a second going, thanks, Koji.
That was Aya's turn, so that makes it this owlbear. Koji for the win.
Koji's dealt so much damage.
Koji is MVP.
The owlbear on top of Goro, attacking Goro, sees its companion go down and lets out an enraged shriek and takes its action to disengage from Goro and rush to the fallen companion. And it takes a very defensive stance in front of Aya. It took its action to disengage, so that's going to be its turn, but it's frothing at the mouth with anger and rage and seems ready to attack Aya with its next turn. That makes it Goro's turn.
I will immediately give chase and lunge after it with my spear.
Okay.
That is a 12 to hit.
12 misses.
And continue on with my bonus attack for the bludgeoning side, or 14 to hit.
That does hit.
That is for 7 points of damage.
7 points of damage. All right. Do a little math right there. Oops. Let's do damage, not healing. And then we are going to be on the U's turn.
Okay. I say, let's do it again, Koji. I won't miss this time. And I am going to sharpshooter again. So, I got a 5 again. So now, as a bonus action, Koji once again is going to come through. And roll a 23.
Christ almighty. Okay. We're going to rename the campaign The Adventures of Koji and Everybody Else.
6 again.
Okay. Another
got
6.
Koji and his homies. That's the new
So that
campaign
brings
name.
Koji's total damage for this single day to 44.
Wow.
I have dealt 11, I think.
At some point, we're going to have to register a group name with the Adventurers Hall. So, yeah, I think we're headed there.
Yeah.
Koji
and campaign. Yeah. Goro is like redefined. Is like, well, this is just going to be me and Koji being the two strongest. Found what true strength looks like.
Specifically with a cleric who keeps getting beat up.
Oh my lord.
Regularly taking the most damage.
I love it.
To be fair, she hasn't been in a whole lot of fights, so she doesn't know when to pull back.
Apparently, Ryutaro hasn't either.
Oh, that's too good.
Oh my lord.
So yeah, Ryutaro, you're kind of finding your finding your stride in these early days, but Koji is here and ready to rumble. Speaking of damage dealers, Mora, you are up.
Right. Well, the Witch Bolt has dropped, and seeing it run over to protect, and also seeing that it is heavily bloodied, I will say, time to rest. And waving one hand, I will cast Sleep just to hit the owlbears.
Okay. Wonderful.
And let me roll some dice. There we go. Sorry, just had to try and work the interface to roll 5 at once. 24 points of sleep.
Okay, so you see as this owlbear is getting up on its back hind legs, you see the muscles, its hind muscles clench as it's ready to stand up and come falling hard on top of Aya with claws and beaks. And then suddenly you see its yellow eyes kind of roll back in its head, and it slumps down into a deep, deep slumber. Go ahead and let's say, who's closest? Aya, why don't you go ahead and give me a perception check?
Oh, okay. Perception check. 19.
Okay. You look to you're kind of on your backside a little bit. You know, you're pushed back, bracing for these owl bears to attack. One of them is clearly down. The other one seemed ready to come after you. And you take a moment to take them in. As you watch the one fall, you notice the one that has been downed prior to the sleep spell has its back leg is wet and matted, like wet fur and dried blood kind of all along its back leg. And you're able to notice it just in the moment before, like what you saw with the troll in Greenhaven. You notice that it begins to emanate light from the inside, and little fractal beams begin to cut out of this owlbear until it transforms into arcane light and dissipates like fairy dust, and its energy enters the 4 of your rings. This is just the downed owlbear. The other remains fast asleep. While this one is asleep, is there anything the party would like to do? We can go to the top of the round where it would be Aya's turn, unless more there was something else you wanted to do on your turn.
No, I will remain where I am.
So Aya, the owlbear in front of you is fast asleep.
Okay. She's gonna quietly get up and crawl back away, probably just behind Goro and Ryu, to give herself a little space from this owlbear.
Because, ow.
Okay, wonderful. And Goro and Ryu, anything you would like to do?
So, just to go back, when we first came in, it seemed like this one was just overly enraged, and the other one was kind of something seemed off, right? Am I remembering that correctly? Like one of them seemed more enraged than the other, and that is this one.
Yes.
Can I make a nature check to see if, because I know, well, I'm not sure how much I know about owl bears and the like, but something, is this a natural, just like pheromone kind of rage, or is it a unnatural effect?
Oh.
Yeah, go ahead and give me that nature check.
Okay. And they are my favorite enemy, so I have advantage. So 17.
Okay. You've been, sitting with this information for a minute. There's been several rounds since you tried communicating with them with speak to animals. You felt the rage and anger from the one, and you felt rage and anger from the other, though there was more hesitancy to it and more kind of pain in the messaging that you received, the emoting, because they were monstrosities, not creatures. But you understand that they are predatory. And this is you get this very similar sensation that you've gotten when hunting cornered animals, specifically other predators. So you've hunted wolf and bear and dangerous creatures before, and you understand that they can get very aggressive when being hunted, and you get this sensation that you might have stumbled across these bears after something else larger, perhaps more dangerous, had attacked them.
Hey guys, so something seems off. I mean, I know that they attacked us, but I think we might want to get out of the open for a minute and kind of take a look around. Wait. I think something may have been after these.
How long will this one stay asleep? Or should we end it now?
Less than a minute at this point.
Jeez.
I don't know if we should. I know. I don't think it wanted to fight. I think it was just scared. If we leave now and let it go.
Okay.
But
yeah, let's do
whatever.
that. Let's do that.
All right.
So be it. I will stay vigilant should it wake up and track us.
Yes.
But I consider
I'll
it still a
keep it.
threat.
I will be sure to let you know if it follows us. If it does, then I'll agree to putting an end to the threat. But
Let us move quickly.
for now, yes. And so I don't think we need to move far, but just I want to wait and see if anything comes through here before we start going.
Okay, so let's do this. As the party, as a group, moves into the forest, there are plenty of large trees and brush and areas that you could hide up for a bit. Let's do... Why doesn't everybody give me a survival check?
Eight.
16.
Natural
17.
20.
Okay.
Ooh.
So all in all, as a group, you pass this check. And what this means is the three of you, Mora, Ryutaro, and Goro, you make your way into the woods, and you kind of have to help Aya along. She's pretty beat up here. She's wearing some armor as it is, and isn't really fully ready to kind of stealthily get away from this this downed owlbear or make it to somewhere where she can hide. But after a while, you guys make a good distance away. You get a good distance away from the owlbear. Go ahead and Ryu, why don't you go ahead and give me a perception check?
Does perception fall under something that would have? Would this fall under my natural explorer, so my favorite terrain? Since I'm in there, but it's not
No,
necessarily like
this is not
okay.
not for this check.
Right. Okay. So I got a 9.
A 9. Okay. So the party heads into the forest. You make your way, the three of you helping Aya along, you make your way until you are somewhat out of a clear line of sight of the owlbear. And Goro and Ryu, you kind of are able to keep just enough through the trees, just enough of a line of vision of this owlbear that you wait for maybe another 30 seconds. And the owlbear kind of comes to its senses and is looking to where it had seen its companion fall. And it begins to pace in a circle around where it had fallen. And then it stops and it sniffs the air. You can see as its beak kind of flares and it begins looking around. And it looks into the woods, into the forest, right at where the party is, with its keen senses. It looks, but then thinks better of continuing this and kind of circles around another couple of times before disappearing in the opposite direction of the forest. The four of you sit there for a moment, kind of recuperating yourselves, catching your breath, when from behind Ryu, you hear, "That was spectacular." And you turn around and you see a human girl about Aya and Ryu's age, very cute, short brown hair, big brown eyes, in kind of a white tunic with her hands behind her back and kind of leaning over Ryu's shoulder. She's like, "The four of you really are something."
Who
are you?
Hi.
Hello there. Hello. I'm Kona. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Kona, a pleasure to meet you in the woods as well. I'm Mora.
Mora, hello.
Companion.
Hi,
I have my
Kona.
spear pointed at her.
Oh,
Identify yourself.
she kind of takes a step back. She says, "Oh, my bad. My bad. I apologize. I shouldn't have surprised you after that fight. I am Kona of the Forest Druids."
I lower my spear and relax a little bit.
Oh, you're with the Druids. Hi, Kona. I'm Ryu.
Hi there.
And this is Koji.
Oh, aren't you adorable? And she kind of lets out her hands, and Koji just kind of naturally plops himself down in her hands, and she kind of gives him a little nose nuzzle, nose to nose.
Aw, cute.
We have come seeking the Druids of the Woods. We have a mission from the Adventurers Guild. But before we speak of such, might you have any aid for our wounded friend here, Aya?
Oh, yes, of course. She looks to Aya. She's, my goodness, here, let me help. And she heads to the side and pulls from her tunic. She has something of a rope hemp belt, and on the side of it, she has a jar filled with liquid. She says, here, drink this.
Oh, thank you. And she takes it. I'd like to do a medicine check.
Sure.
Just to make sure that it's actually medicine and not something else.
Right.
For a total of 24.
Yeah, it's a healing potion.
Perfect. And she goes, "Thank you very much." And she
Okay, so that's going to be 1d4 plus 4.
Okay. D4 plus 4. 6 points.
Okay, wonderful. So you get 6 points back, and after a moment, Kona kind of stands up. Okay, and dusts her thighs off and looks at the group. She says, "Well, I'm so glad that you are here and able to help us. We're so lucky that fine adventurers such as yourself who could take on 2 owlbear would come to help us. I appreciate it so much. Allow me to escort you to our grove."
Sounds great.
She kind of winks and
How far
gives
she-
you a little peace sign and spins around on her heel and says, "Just follow me," and heads deeper into the forest.
All right.
I-
Rio just immediately starts following.
Aya's gonna stand up feeling a little bit better, and she's gonna pop herself with a cure wounds to bring her up. I don't think it'll be pop myself with some cure wounds to bring myself back up a little bit. Might not be the whole way there, but
Good. Anything
I'll
else?
heal another 9 points. So almost full.
Wonderful.
I will follow in the back, keeping an eye on whatever might be following us.
Yes.
And as we go, I will just say, Ayed, it's good to see that the sister can take care of you as well.
She can. Oh, that was intense.
I think perhaps we should discuss ways to keep you safe in the future.
Maybe I shouldn't be running in, mace first.
I put a big hand on her shoulder.
Oh,
You are not made to be standing toe-to-toe with an owlbear, but I respect that you were there.
she kind of give him a nod, like, oh, all right. Well, I'm not used to fighting, so maybe that's true. No, not usually.
But we will make you a fighter yet. Ha ha! I kind of continue on.
I like to think that Rio is like, while they're having this, you just hear Rio just pestering the druid about the forest, like shoving Koji in her face. Not saying anything distinct, but just in the background.
The two of you are like deep in nature conversation. Like as soon as she discovers that you are a nature lover, the two of you are like walking through these woods and she's like, "And this is a sister rose, and these are the blue-backed corbel birds that you can only find here in the Great Forest." And the two of you are just like what we saw earlier. The three, Aya, Goro, and Mora, you are walking now through the woods and trying to follow as Ryutaro and Kona are just like bamfing from one side of the forest. Suddenly they're on top of a tree. Suddenly they're under a bush. Suddenly they're 20 yards ahead. Now they're behind you, and each and every time they're just kind of talking about plant life and bird life. Kona turns to you and she says, "Oh, Koji's just so adorable. We don't have many drake and dragon-like creatures in the Great Forest. Where did you make a friend like this?"
Koji and I have known each other for a while now. I found him out in the forest on an island outside of off the coast of Kam.
"Oh, you mean like in the ocean? I've never seen it myself."
It was across the ocean. Yeah, it was a great discovery.
"Oh, that sounds... Oh, look at this! This is a dual-headed mushroom! Look!" And you see like a little mushroom that is not that spectacular other than the fact that it has like two small crowns on it. But the two of you are like geeking out over this. The rest of the party, you walk by the two of them like poking at this mushroom because just past them is this clearing. And the clearing opens up, and you get the most sunshine that you have gotten since entering the forest about 2 hours prior. So we're approaching golden hour. And the dappling sun hits this clearing, and in the center of it is by far, the largest tree that you have seen yet in this forest. You have had enormous trees all throughout this way, but this just stands twice, 3 times as tall as the other. It is a town in and of itself. As you look up to the tree, you notice that on branches and in nooks and in crannies of this tree, there are clay and straw thatched houses built in and around it with ornate wooden drawbridges, rope bridges connecting the various branches. And there are druids kind of making their way peacefully around the tree, some carrying baskets of berries, others tanning leathers. You hear the sounds of harps playing as a village of druids who have made their encampment in this great and ancient tree are going about the events of their day.
Wow. Now that's a tree. Huh. What kind of tree is that? It's a big one, I know. But wow.
That
I've only read about groves like this. This is fantastic.
and Kona kind of comes up behind the rest of them, and she says, This is what we call the elder tree. Our legends tell us that Daerin, the elder god, once slumbered under this tree, and now the heart of the whole forest lives within it. It's what gives the great woods their life and their energy.
Wow. I feel
know.
energized just seeing it. Can we climb it?
Of course. And so she runs over
Just starts.
Yeah. So the rest of the party you see as in a very graceful kind of manner, Kona kind of runs up to the tree and starts climbing up. You watch as Ryu kind of runs in a much more Lupin the Third type style, with legs and arms kind of spread out wide as he charges the tree, and the two of them begin climbing up. You hear a soft and friendly chuckle to your side, Goro. And you notice as there is a very kind-faced, somewhat older man in a tunic of his own, walking with several children who are all carrying, various vegetables and fruits and whatnot. He says, It seems as though our dear Kona has made a friend. Welcome, travelers. What brings you here to our humble grove?
We have been told that you need some kind of assistance.
And Aya holds up the slip of paper that I took from the Adventurers Guild with the notification on it.
A very warm and calming smile comes over his face, and he looks at Aya and Goro, takes in Mora as well. This news brings great joy and calm to my heart to know that when we are in need, those will still answer our call. Welcome, friends. We have much to discuss, but first, come rest yourselves, regain your energy, and we can discuss heavier matters in a moment. And he'll kind of move past the group and towards the elder tree. and beckon for you all to come. And several of the children will take Mora's hand and Gora's hand and Aya, and they say, "Come, come, come!" And where the children of Greenhaven, though kind, were somewhat snot-nosed, quite literally. These kids are beautifully groomed. They have lovely feathers and beadwork in their hair. The tunics that they're wearing seem almost impossibly clean, and there's this ever-present smell of like lavender and honeysuckle in the air. And the party makes its way to the kind of rope bridges that wrap around the tree. And as the three of you walk with the druids up, you notice Kona climbing and Ryutaro, who somehow has like changed into nothing but a loincloth. And he's like climbing up he's like climbing up the side of this tree in a very masculine way, but like in nothing but a loincloth. And he seems more in his element than you have ever seen him. He seems to have no interest in using the rope bridges. But after a while, you're escorted into the main hall, which is a kind of common room that is larger than several of the smaller huts. And you pass by the tanners, you pass by those who seem to be fermenting berries, and the musicians, and you come to have a seat, or at least offered seats, in the great hall, where Gale, who is the head druid who you've met outside, turns and sits, and he says, "Well, welcome, friends. Let us first get you some wine. Let us first get you some tea. Let us first get you some food. Enjoy our hospitality, and we will discuss why we have summoned you here." And after a few moments, in rushes several other druids with food and plate. And when I say rush, it's not in a worried way or anything. They're just quick to serve. And they present a beautiful display of berries and dried meats, wines and ales. Anything that you could want, nature's bounty from the forest, is laid in front of you.
What tea is this? I ask excitedly, curious.
Gale kind of perks up. He says, fellow tea lover. Well, this is a very special brew. I think you're going to find it quite rejuvenating. We take a northern frostberry that can only be found at the very high edge of the forest. And then we take preserved salamander for its heating aspects. So we put it together for a blend of fiery and cold to really rejuvenate the system, rejuvenate the muscles. Give it a try.
I take a sip from my cup. I let the warmth and the smell breathe in and take it in. This is truly magnificent. Do you have any that I may add to my collection? That I'm happy to purchase it.
I wouldn't hear of it. I wouldn't hear of it. And he procures for you a small pouch. He says, I just finished drying this batch. I would be honored if you would take it.
Wonderful. Do you have a name for it, or is it a secret?
Oh, a name, huh? And he ponders for a moment. He says, I suppose I have never named it. I'm not sure I ever had a need.
Then for now, it'll be Gale's tea.
I love it, Gale's tea. Too kind of you. Well, let's discuss the matter at hand, shall we? I am so glad to have made 4 new friends. I'm sorry we couldn't meet under better circumstances, but strange times have befallen the forest. I hear from Kona that you ran into some trouble with the owlbear. They are ferocious predators, but normally are quite reclusive. And would no sooner attack unless provoked, and from my understanding that certainly wasn't the case, but strange things like this have been happening as of late. There is a community of satyrs that lives deeper in the forest, and along the river there's a small settlement of halflings, and lately they have both reported instances of their settlements being raided. At first it was small things were going missing, things like clothing or a child's doll. But recently, livestock has been missing as well. At first we thought perhaps it was something like the owlbear, but more and more reports from the Druids communing with the woods is that many of the woods creatures, including admittedly the monstrosities that inhabit the woods, have been agitated and riled. And we called for adventurers, hoping that some could aid us. We try to tend to the woods as best we can, but our first and primary mission is to protect the elder tree, and rarely do we range that far from its protection.
How far are these satyrs and their camps that have been experiencing these raids?
From here it would take the better part of a day to get there by foot. The halflings are just a bit closer, but I would insist that you spend the night tonight and heal yourselves and enjoy our hospitality.
That is a kind and generous offer.
It is.
Yes, thank you, Gale. Do you fear for your own safety here at the tree?
Oh, for centuries, the elder tree has protected our grove of druids, and as long as the magical incantations that protect the elder tree remain, and as long as we're able to concentrate on them, I am confident we will remain protected and safe.
That's certainly good to know. I'm glad that you feel safe, at least right now.
So I know I was out and about in loincloth Tarzan fashion.
Yeah.
But
Oh, you're back in. No
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah,
No
okay.
problem. If you want to be back in, you just kind of pop
Uh,
up. Like the three of them are
just
sitting there
swinging
talking.
through the window on a vine.
Yeah.
And the camera switches away and then looks back. I'm back in my full gear. And
Magical.
I say to the elder, and basically, you mentioned something that about monstrosities and the other wildlife seeming to be acting out of character. With those owlbears, we ran into a pair of owlbears earlier, and well, they seemed almost like I've only ever seen it in like cornered animals. You know, they were full of rage and fear, and as if something had been chasing them or forcing them away. But have you heard anything of a great beast or something like it?
Gale listens to your words and is nodding as you speak and says, "It has been a long time since anything seems to have had the woods and forest this upset. Something is clearly out of balance. It would appear that whatever is doing the agitation, creating this agitation, is not part of the natural order. There are migrations from time to time. Certainly it's been known that monsters will come down from the mountains that do not normally reside here in the forest. So if I had to take a guess, I might put my judgment in that, and that perhaps it is something from the nearby mountains.
Been a long time since something like this has happened. Can I ask what happened last time? There instances like this where the natural fauna was on edge like this?
Yes, well, the last time something like this happened, there had been, and he recollects a time when he was much younger. The last time something like this happened, there was a rock slide after a terrible storm, and it released a cave, and massive spider-like creatures escaped into the forest and wreaked havoc, setting up webbings and throughout the forest. And it took again the Adventurers Guild to help us eradicate the spiders from the forest. I'm not saying that that's what this is. I'm just recollecting.
Aya bristles a little bit at the mention of spiders, and she goes, yes, not long ago, we also had a run-in with some pretty monstrous-looking spiders. So it's not entirely unknown to us. That was relatively recent at another site of ruins. Yes. Ugh. And you see her I kind of shiver at the memory.
Gale is a very kind and caring personality, and he seems to, in hearing your story, be truly empathetic to that experience, as he kind of rests a hand on your shoulder and gives you a kind pat. And he says, well, you are here and we are grateful. For tonight, enjoy our hospitality. We have the hot springs, the waterfall, food for you to eat, soft beds for you to sleep in, muds and teas to relax. Enjoy tonight, and tomorrow we can deal with heavier things.
Do you have any written records or maps that might help us learn more about this before we face it?
Yes, perhaps. After dinner, I will show you to what serves as our library for something, for lack of a better term. I do hope it can help a wizard such as yourself. I'm sure you are accustomed to much finer collections.
Oh, I am sure it will be fine, and I will take my relaxation there as I study. Thank you.
Of course, of course. Well, then, let us eat, let us make merry, and you will set off in the morning. And with that, the meal continues. Druids come in with folded silk robes of their own making and offer each one to you. You are shown to where each of your own rooms would be. Kona goes off with Ryu, showing him around the nearby waterfall and hot spring. They spend the rest of the evening talking natural things.
Hot Springs episode.
Got there faster than I thought we would. A pair of very kind druids approaches you and helps you to their healing area, where they begin casting various rituals and helping you heal. And Goro and Gale speak deep into the night about tea recipes, and he shows you he has an enormous cabinet area, like in the kitchen's area. He has this enormous room that is just all different herbs and ingredients just hanging from the ceiling, a treasure trove of different tea leaves and whatnot. So this is where we will conclude on the eve of a deeper excursion into the Great Forest to try to figure out what is ailing the creatures of the Great Forest. I want to say a big big thank you to everyone who joined us today. A big shout out to Goro, Mora, Aya, and Ryutaro, fellow guild mates and members in this adventure who will be joining us going forward. A massive thank you to you. Welcome to the guild, everyone. We have an incredible journey in front of us, and we will continue the adventure next time.